If you don't like what you're doing, you won't do it. And we don't like eating boring food. So we don't eat the healthy stuff. We eat the tasty, fun, obesogenic stuff. But we don't want to be fat. And so now we have a problem, right? I used to be 80 pounds heavier, not happy about being 80 pounds heavier, in pain all the time. It wasn't a good time, right? And I didn't like working out. And so I would spend money on gyms, so gym memberships, and I wouldn't go. As a matter of fact, I purchased a complete exercise equipment set in my basement right now that I don't use. Now, sometimes my daughter will use it, but I haven't touched that exercise set, I would say probably in 2 years. And I didn't buy it that long ago, right? I bought it since becoming healthy. So since losing the weight, I should say. And why am I telling you about this is because I don't think that we really understand how if we don't like doing something, it's just not going to happen. And food is the same way. Food is especially that way. Like, I don't particularly enjoy cooking, right? And so when I first found keto, these complicated recipes that I was being told I needed to do in order to live my keto lifestyle, right? And it's not just the desserts, although there were plenty of desserts, but even the meals, they were complicated, many steps. And so eating on plan, what I needed to do to lose weight, and then eating fun stuff. Well, if in order for me to make those things match together, it took a lot of work. And Wellness Warrior, I need you to understand that weight loss is achieved by eating the right food every day. There's no exceptions. There's no workarounds. There's no cheat days, because when you cheat on your diet, you are cheating on yourself. So if I'm going to eat the right foods every day, I need to like them. Because if I don't like what I'm eating, I'm going to be tempted. But at the same time, I need to make it. So I want to help you to understand how I've gotten to where I've gotten. I want you to help you to understand how is it that I hate cooking and yet I eat on plan every single day. And in order to do this, we're going to jump into the Wayback Machine and look at when I found keto, what was I doing? So it was hard at the very beginning because when I found keto, I wasn't really cooking all that much. I was eating a bunch of processed nonsense. And I was able to do that because my daughter, who at the time was 9, is that right? Yeah. No, she wasn't 9. I'm sorry. At the time she was 13. At the time she was 13, she was eating most of her meals at my mom's house. She was in high school, so she was buying lunches, I believe, or no. I was making lunches. So I'm making her lunches and she was eating most of her meals at my mom's house. So I didn't actually need to cook supper ever during the week. I was only cooking on the weekend. So during the week, processed garbage. But on the weekends, what would I cook? I would cook some kind of meat and pasta beside it. So I didn't like cooking rice. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible diet. Okay. But what I was able to do to start my keto lifestyle was take the meats that I already knew how to cook and figure out how to spice some vegetables that I looked up. So I didn't even know which vegetables to eat because my favorite vegetables were potatoes and carrots. Those are not ideal for keto. So I needed to figure out what vegetables I would eat. And I did some research and I spiced the vegetables, Wellness Warrior. So the same way that I spiced the meats, I just spiced the vegetables so that they taste fun to me. And because I liked the way that they tasted, I ate them. And can I just say, first of all, no matter what period of time you look at my journey to weight loss, I in my keto life, in my journey to weight loss, I was never hungry. Not one moment in there, except for that brief 2 days when I was going through withdrawal. Forgot about that. But once I got past the withdrawal, I ate enough that I was not hungry, not like sometimes I was even maybe say I would eat more than so I would feel a little full, and still I was fine and I still lost the weight. The food I liked tasted great. It was a good thing for me to do because if you like what you're eating, you're going to eat it. I don't know if I can say that enough times in this video. If I don't like what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it. If I like what I'm doing, I'm going to do it. And I made my life of cooking as easy as I possibly could. And the way that I did that was I just decided, as I saw some of these people talking about food prep for the week, I was like, I don't mind leftovers. So on Sunday, I would make a stir fry of the vegetables that I was going to eat for the Monday to Friday for the week. And understand what that means. However I made it on Sunday, I was eating the same thing through the week. And just for you to understand, I'm not talking about different batches. Like I'm not cooking, some broccoli, and I'm not cooking. No, I'm taking all of the broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Swiss chard, anything that I bought, running it through my food processor to get into small pieces, and in a gigantic stir fry electric container that I had, stir fry. I don't even know what you call that, stir fryer that I had. I just stir fried up those vegetables, portioned them out into 10 servings because lunch and supper was what I was originally doing. That's what I ate, Wellness Warrior, for a week. And then the next Sunday would come along and I would do it again. And so what that meant for me is that there were some actions I needed to take in order to make this all work, because I was tracking everything I was eating. That's how I knew how much I was putting in each container. So I had to weigh all the vegetables that I purchased. So, and I got pretty good at this because at first I was doing it wrong. And when you do it wrong, you realize that, that you're not getting your carb count is not right. So I had to weigh all the vegetables, and then I was weighing them before I cook them. So weigh them before you cook them, and then put them in the through the food processor so that they're small enough so then I could stir fry them. And basically you can get a lot of chopped up foods to cook together in a container versus if you try to put all the whole pieces, it would never all fit, right? And that's part of the reason I needed to make sure I weigh them before I put them in the container, because then of course you're going to add water and you're going to add all kinds of stuff and spices, whatever. And I did measure, I added the spices that I was putting into my recipe. But once you're finished with that, the weight doesn't seem to, anyways, if you ever do it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The point is, I now had a week's worth of food. I liked the way it tasted. Every week I had a different flavor profile because of course you can't make the same. It's not going to taste exactly the same every time because it's a matter of what vegetables were available to me when I went to the grocery store, the price of vegetables, whatever. So it wasn't exactly the same recipe. So it tasted different every time. So my variety was happening week to week, not day to day. Well, there was a little bit of day-to-day variety because the meat was different. My meat, I cooked. At the beginning, I was cooking like for 2 days, but eventually I was cooking my meat daily and just having the veg be from the fridge. Saturday and Sunday, I typically made a keto meal for myself that matched whatever the kids were eating. So for example, I had things like zucchini pasta if they were having pasta. I had keto lasagna that I figured out. No, Pat figured out the better version than we both had our different versions. If I was cooking, it was with zucchini. If Pat was cooking, he had this meat lasagna thing that he was making. That was pretty good. Keto pizza, keto tacos, which is just no taco shells. We were using at the beginning cabbage leaves, and then we switched over to lettuce leaves just because that's much easier. Don't have to cook lettuce leaves. You see a pattern as we move forward in what I'm doing. I had keto bread that I was making for our burgers. Eventually, I switched over to lettuce leaves for the burger, or even just eating the burger bun, like bunless completely. Pat was making an Indian meal that had a coconut flour naan bread that went along with it, and cauliflower rice instead of real rice. So as you could see, we had a lot of things that were like that allowed us to eat with the kids very, very easily. And then we had a few things like I made zucchini fritters that had nothing to do with anything. There's something that Pat and I liked. And of course, we had the occasional keto desserts at the very beginning. And I was making mayonnaise and Caesar salad dressing, so from scratch, so that we had healthy versions of mayonnaise and salad dressing. These things took me hours in the kitchen on Saturdays and Sundays. And yeah, like, so again, I don't like to cook. So I can't say that enough times. I don't like to cook. And yet I was spending hours on the weekend making these replacement things. That now during my week, I was good because everything was made on Sunday. But now you can look at how my week was going, right? Because on Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm cooking family stuff. And I'm trying to also Sunday night cook for my week. All of this because I wanted to be as healthy as I possibly could be. That was my goal. So come March 2019, I stopped eating the 7 to 10 cups of veg that Dr. Berg had taught me was what I needed to do keto in a healthy way. I just decided, like, making all that stuff. Nope. It was too much. I settled on Caesar salads, broccoli, and cauliflower. Those were the things. And, if Pat occasionally made a different vegetable, that was fine. But what I was going to cook, that was what I was cooking. But when I look back at my tracking Wellness Warrior, what do I also see in there? That's also the period of time that I started to allow pecans, walnuts, cashews, like the nuts and seeds came into my life. So I feel like I traded vegetables for nuts and seeds. And anybody who has any understanding of how vegetation impacts us knows that was a huge mistake. I didn't know that at the time. And it didn't impact my weight. By the time that I did that in 2019, I was living my life at goal weight. So my weight remained stable. I didn't immediately have any pain, like repercussions from doing that. I did eventually, because cashews, which are my favorite nut, I learned, because I didn't used to eat nuts in my history, but I quickly figured out that I love cashews. And whenever you find yourself loving some kind of vegetation, we can pretty much be sure that love isn't really what's happening there. You're chasing it. It's controlling your life. And that's exactly what was happening. I was overeating the nuts and the seeds and just in general. So I didn't notice it at first, but then I started to have a little bit of like, oh, and then I double checked on myself and it's like, yeah, I can't be doing that. So even when we're doing what we're told, because in our keto world, there's no problem with eating nuts, seeds, like these things, they're fine. We need to pay attention to how our own body is reacting, because the goal is for me to eat healthy food, healthy for Violet. So if cashews and peanuts was another one that I realized made me kind of like not feel good. If those nuts are causing me to chase and causing my body to feel bad, they're not healthy for me. So I I mm, I kind of I struggled with myself with that one, Wellness Warrior. I would go through periods of time where I wasn't eating them and then I was eating them. Okay. How did I get to the healthy place I'm sitting at right now? So if we fast forward a little bit, in July 2021, I decided to try carnivore for 2 months. And that just changed my perspective on things immensely. So I realized that I don't need all the vegetation. So I lived 20 July, August, and September, part of it September, I did this carnivore lifestyle. And then I went back to eating normal veg. First of all, readjusting stomach issues and all the things come back, right? You're bloated, your discomfort, bathrooming so many times, like just all the things come back. And it's just like, are the vegetables worth it? So in September 2021, when I reintroduced the vegetables, I realized I actually still hate vegetation. Like I'm not a happy person when I'm eating veg. So about 6 months later, I just decided, yeah, I'm going to stick to like avocado and olives and maybe once in a blue moon a salad, but like and that's when I started to do just those three types of veg and spices. I still spiced my meat. It didn't it didn't do anything negative. It didn't do, like I felt fine. I felt completely fine. I felt back to normal. The bloating went away and I felt completely normal. And about 2 years after that, so in February of 2024, after being so close to not having any plants in my life that I was like, you know what? What's the next step? And I just removed them. So carnivore is what I started calling myself. Called myself keto before that, all the way up until that point. Because I was still having avocado, olives, and spices, but now I'm not having those things. And I feel like what's interesting, so I want to just take a side note here before I keep going forward. These labels that we put on what we're doing, carnivore, keto, low carb, does it change what my body wanted from the beginning? My body wanted something from me. And was I giving my body what it was asking for? And the truth is, I wasn't. I was eating, well, before 6 years ago, for fun and having all the processed wrong foods. And then, even as I was doing this road that I took from eating keto to very low carb keto to what would be called carnivore, my body was always a carnivore based body, like a body that wanted me to eat meat and eggs and fish, and because that's what's healthiest. I just didn't know. And now that I know, I'm giving my body what it asked for. But I'm pausing here because I want us to think about the fact that, so I have a dog. And every once in a while, throughout the dog's life, I've seen him eat grass. And usually it's because he's not feeling great. But beyond that, he doesn't eat grass. Like he doesn't eat any veg. If you drop a fruit on the floor, he's just gonna look at it and be like, yeah, whatever. He didn't care. So I think that we mistakenly believe that because we eat veg, we're not carnivorous animals. So I wanted to put that out there because it's something that's been running in my mind lately. So the roadmap from standard diet to what we call carnivore took me 5.5 years. But I didn't plan it, Wellness Warrior. The thing that I want to the thing I want to explain to you is that I don't think most people plan changing their diet this dramatically. Most people are trying to solve a problem like I was. I was trying to solve a pain problem when this started. I ended up solving a weight problem as well. But in my effort to solve those problems, I started doing some actions. And while I started to do those actions, I kept allowing myself to learn. And the more that I learned about what I was eating, about why I was feeling better, about what more could I do, I got information that put me on this path. Solving my inflammation issues led to me learning how my body works. Learning how my body works led me to understand that the foods I was eating didn't make sense. And I want to walk through that information with you right now because I think that when you understand what I learned, it's going to really help you to understand why moving from a high plant amount in your diet to a low plant amount in your diet just makes the most sense, because that's the conclusion that I ended up coming to, which is why I end up in the position today where I eat meat that's salted. And I haven't eaten anything besides meat that's salted. Oh my goodness, in the meat, fish, I eat eggs that's salted. I eat poultry that's salted. So let me be clear. But it's been, I think we're going on 3 months now. So I learned from Dr. Barry at the very beginning of my journey that seed oils are dangerous, not just kind of bad, dangerous. We should never put a seed oil in our body. And I learned that in 2018, and I implemented it throughout my life and all the places. So the more I understood the impact it was having, the more I removed it from anything that I was eating, till the point right today where it's rare that I get seed oils. And I think the only time I'm actually getting them is if I eat away from home. So restaurants, and it could happen at my mom's place if I eat something there. That's probably the reason I rarely eat there, because I'm trying to avoid seed oils. In 2018, I also was reminded by Dr. Fung that our body makes carbohydrates. I did biology. I knew that information. Somehow I'd let go of it. Since my body made carbohydrates, I understood that the rice and all the starches, all the high carb stuff that we were being told we need to eat, didn't need them. So that was really, really good. In 2019, Sally Norton taught me that there's oxalates in almonds, which I did not know. And that was a huge turning point for me, Wellness Warrior, because when I learned that there were oxalates in almonds, all the keto treats that I was making, so this is back in 2019, I stopped making. The keto bread that I was making for our burgers, stopped making. So that was a huge adjustment that I needed to make. We still made naan bread with coconut flour, but all the cakes and all that stuff were gone. The fritters, we were making zucchini fritters that used almond flour, so that was gone. I tried making it with coconut flour. I couldn't get the ratios to work out in the way that I wanted, and again, lazy cook, so that didn't last long as a fight. And also that I was frying some things with a coating of almond flour on them to kind of get a little bit of crispiness. And I just stopped having crispy chicken. I just stopped. That was just the end of it. That was a huge turning point in my health journey. In 2021, I learned from Dr. Baker that we can get the micronutrients we need from muscle meat, which I always thought I would have had to eat organ meats to get that. Now, I think that helped me solidify that I could have tried carnivore, because that's the year that I tried carnivore, because all of a sudden realizing that I wasn't missing the micronutrients because I wasn't able to eat organ meats. Not able. Again, you don't do things you don't like. I remember not liking the taste of organ meats, so I wasn't eating organ meats. Have I tried organ meats since becoming healthy 6 years ago at this point? No, I haven't tried them. Maybe I'm going to taste the organ meats and I'm going to love them. But I haven't tried them because why? Because we don't do these. We don't like. Can I say this enough times in this video, Wellness Warrior? In 2021, I also learned, and this was huge, that galactose, so that's the sugar in milk, is 90% metabolized in the liver, just like alcohol. I was so angry because I was allowing myself to eat cheese in good quantities, not realizing that that was impacting my liver. In 2024, Sally Norton put out a book, which I read, and I really got deep in the weeds of all the different foods that are high in oxalate. I already knew about almonds, but now we add to it spinach, which was, and the amount in spinach was boggling to my mind blowing, and scary for the impact it has on children. Children should not eat spinach, from what Sally explained to us. And so I was even more happy that I had reduced the amount of veg in my diet to the point that it was so very low. In 2024, I learned from Georgia Aid about the many other toxins and anti-nutrients in plants that are causing mental health problems and physical health problems. In 2024, I learned from a Netflix twin experiment video that I watched that eating dairy releases casomorphine, which causes chasing. It also like gets you to release dopamine. And so going to the fact that it's causing you to chase and it's harming your liver. Can you see where, as I went through this process, and this is the short list of things that I learned, that I realized I don't need to be eating these vegetation based foods. So whether it's vegetables or whether it's a processed food, like we're eating things that are causing our body to struggle. When I focused on weight loss, I thought I needed to work out, Wellness Warrior. I thought I needed to eat foods that I hated to be thin, Wellness Warrior. Now, I found a way around the whole working out thing, by the way, because I started to do activities that I love. And I have a lot of activities that I love, by the way. So don't feel like I do a lot to keep my body moving, because I understand that making your body move and lifting heavy things and doing things that take weight, that's important. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't work out. I just haven't figured out the way to make myself do it and like it. But I also want to point out that all the working out that I did in my history, all the activities that I did in my history did not equal weight loss. I never lost. I was still on an upward trajectory the entire time. My weight changed when I changed my food, which, okay, that's another thing that I learned. And I learned that back in 2018, I believe. When I started keto, 2018, I learned that food is 80% of what you weigh. Exercise, sleep, stress, genetics, all the other things that people talk about only make up the other 20%, right? Wellness Warrior. Focus on getting your food in order. Focus on eating the right things. It's the key to being successful at keeping your body healthy, at being at a healthy weight. I love what I eat. So think about that. I used to eat a bunch of garbage. I used to eat a bunch of fun foods. And today I eat meat that is spiced with salt. That's it. Fish that is spiced with salt, maybe a little butter. That's it. Poultry that is spiced with salt, a little bit of butter. That's it. I eat eggs that are spiced with you gonna guess what it is? Salt and butter. That is it. And that's all I eat. And I love what I eat. Why do I love it? I love it because those foods are safe for my body. So that makes me happy when I'm eating them. I know that when I eat this stuff, I'm not excessively damaging my internals for a momentary happening in my mouth. Can we understand the ridiculousness of that? That I will eat chocolate or ice cream or insert whatever your favorite garbage food is there. I will drink, insert whatever, beverage that are you making martinis or whatever it is to damage my internals for a momentary fun reaction from my body. When I was focused on weight loss, I allowed these companies to encourage me to eat the wrong thing. But then I also allowed them to sell me shakes and potions to try to starve my body into submission, because that's what that is, by the way, right? I don't give my body enough to build itself properly or to energize itself properly. I'm actually hungry and running around trying to not eat right, but my body is going to listen and get me to the right weight. I don't understand. And I didn't get it that those diet shakes were harming my health. And those diet shakes were keeping me fat. That's the joke of the companies, by the way, because they get you to buy this garbage and you intake it thinking that you're doing something good for yourself. You're not. You're not doing anything good for yourself. You're harming yourself. And they're making money because you're going to keep buying the diet shake or the diet bars or the diet meals, thinking that if I just eat this long enough, I'm going to be at the correct weight. And what happens 6 months later when your body adjusts to how much energy is coming in? The weight starts coming back on anyway, because we are not a closed system. Our body reacts to what's happening. Again, something that I knew back in university, somehow I let it go in my adulthood. I used to believe that the processed food and the whole foods had the same value in my body. I now know that's not true. I learned it, or was reminded of it, back in 2018, and Dr. Fung was going through the list of all the things we needed to do. And what happened is that the idea of being thin above everything else, I realized what a ridiculous idea was. I realized it didn't make sense. I realized that we are aimed at, focused at this idea of you need to be thin. And we're ignoring that what really we need is our body to be healthy. And if we make our body healthy, how do you do that? Do we do that by eating chemical stupidity? No. Do we eat that by eating superfoods that are typically vegetation? My body is a carnivorous body. Do we do that by eating vegetation? No. We do that by eating what your body is looking for. It's looking for building blocks. What are we built from? Animal protein. And I'm saying animal protein because, yes, there's protein in vegetation that, as Dr. Lehman said, is there for the plant, the purposes of the plant. So we don't have full access to it because it's there for the purposes of the plant. And the plant protects itself from animals wanting to eat it by, as Dr. Aid taught me, anti-nutrients and things that are blocking us from getting access to what's in the plant that we think we want access to. Right? We want that calcium, but Sally showed me that the plant is actually blocking me from getting the calcium, and worse, the spinach pulls more of your calcium. So it makes the calcium that was already in your body less accessible to you. So not only did I not get the calcium from the spinach, it's messing with my own calcium. How does it make sense? It doesn't. Your body wants protein, animal protein, and it wants lipids, animal lipids, so that it can build itself properly because I'm an animal, right? I'm eating. And it wants energy, but it wants clean energy. Carbohydrates from outside typically aren't just glucose. We're getting fructose, we're getting galactose, we're getting all kinds of other oses that come into our body that our body is not looking for, that our body has to try to convert, wasting all this energy because our body makes all the carbohydrates that we ever need, all of them. And it's causing oxidative stress. So I'm eating vegetation, creating more damage inside to try to build my body. It's against what your body wants, Wellness Warrior. And learning all of that stuff is how prioritize health over taste was born. It's why I constantly say it. If you will just eat for health, your body takes care of the rest. You're going to be able to build muscle. You're going to live at your healthy weight. But you need to give your body the correct building blocks to do what it's trying to do. If you give it the wrong thing, your body can't do what it's trying to do, which is keep you in the healthiest possible position that you can. What are you supposed to be focusing on? Getting healthy. That's the answer. Getting healthy. Now, you will probably want to know, like, what is the problem with sugar? So I'm going to put a video in the description, and it's already in the description. I'm just going to link at the end of this video. The problem with sugar, especially understanding how fructose, galactose impact your body. You need to understand that. So watch the video that I have after we do some Q&A. So, Wellness Warrior, what questions do you have? And by the way, I want to ask you guys this. Actually, didn't think about it, but I'm going to put this into. I would love to know. Oh, I lost my question. I would love to know what kind of like problems, myths, ideas that you might have about food, like how food impacts weight loss. Can you I would love to answer those questions. So like if there's any other things that I didn't catch on to, or things that what have you heard about what's going to help you to lose weight that maybe I didn't think about? These are the ones that stood out to me as I was learning. I would love to know. Roustabout for fun. I absolutely agree that we need to move. We need to keep our bodies moving as much as we possibly can. And hopefully that we are going to be limber, that hopefully we're going to be able to. I love playing. I feel like we live in a world that says adults are not supposed to play. I love running around outside with the kids, teaching them how to longboard and taking them tubing and this kind of thing. So I have my nieces and nephews and my great nieces and nephews that I can do this with now. And it's just fun. It's just cool. So yes, I agree that movement is an opportunity to stay healthy. I totally agree with you. Okay. Good morning. Less junk, more health. Hi, Pam is jamming. Hey, Zach. I have a question from Sing It. Your chicken still gets crispy without breading? Yes, it does, because I figured out that so initially I was frying my chicken in just lard. And I figured out if you add a little bit of butter to your lard. So I put some lard in the pan, I put a little bit of butter in the pan, melt it together, and then fry my chicken. The chicken actually does get crispy. And it's a very interesting thing. I've done it. I've been able to replicate this over and over and over again. It's really cool. So I've been very happy with that solution. Hello, Lynn. You use pork panko instead of almond flour. I love beef liver only because I grew up eating it. Pork panko, I never thought of that. I'm not sure. The only problem that I currently have with anything that's processed is that it's processed. So I currently am really good with doing my butter trick here. So I'm probably gonna stick with that. But if somebody else did it with pork panko and I saw the ingredients on that and it was all good, I probably would try it. And Singit is saying that you now crave liver. I haven't tried it. Um, Actually, wait a minute. I feel like I did try it. I'm sitting here saying I didn't try it, but as I'm thinking, I think I might have tried a little bit of Pat's, and I think I remember thinking it wasn't offensive, which when I was growing up, I found it offensive. Why do I feel like I tried it? I have to double check. But I do think that on at some point in my near future, I'm gonna try some liver. Not a large amount. Again, with the thalassemia, I want to be careful. And I know that Dr. Chaffee said that that shouldn't be an issue. We had a conversation. I'm not sure if it was in the video or not, but he said it shouldn't be an issue for people with thalassemia. But yeah, I'm nervous. So I might give it a try. Let's see. Thought you were about to say another S word. You were drinking shakes. Okay. Mike Jr. Hello, Violet. Lost almost 200 pounds on keto, just eating, and now I'm more carnivore and I love it. Okay. I feel the best now, and people think the real joy is food, but no, the joy is being able to move. Totally agree with you. Let me tell you something. Mike, you're talking my language. Because can I point out that the reason that I started looking for a solution, even though I had been overweight a good 10, how old was my daughter at that point? 10 years by that point. The reason I was looking for a solution is because I could barely walk and was not able to do my activities. That's it. That's all. I wasn't able to, I missed a year of snowboarding and it was like, no, this cannot ever happen again. And so I figured myself out. So I definitely feel like we just need to understand with some real clarity, if you're not enjoying your life, whether like physically or psychologically, if you're not enjoying your life, what is you're not gonna want to be doing what you're doing. You're gonna end up in a not a roller coaster, on a hamster wheel of self-soothing with food, feeling bad, making everything worse, and not getting the correct full answers from the people that you're turning to get the correct full answer. And that is part of what frustrates me. We are being told things that don't help us to achieve the goal that we're trying to achieve. Hello, Forever Tea. You said you've made fried chicken with a combination of protein powder and Parmesan cheese mix. It turns out good every time. Yeah, I mean, I can see where that probably, because protein powder is going to act like flour, I could see where that's going to very likely turn out crispy. The issue that I have there is that protein powder, number one, processed food, but what kind of protein powder is it? So I learned in my readings from Georgia Aid, I believe it was in my reading, that whey protein actually does push insulin resistance. So just be careful that you're not choosing a whey protein that is going to be kind of harmful in the long run. I do believe that Parmesan cheese has almost very, very, very little carbohydrate in it. But depending on how much you're putting, if you're coating chicken, so if you're just putting a little bit and it's being spread across a lot of chicken, it might not be an issue. But if you're putting a good amount, remember your liver is going to have to process that galactose. So it's really important for us to keep that in mind. For all the mothers out there, how was your Mother's Day? Thank you, Sing It, for asking about mine. I had a lovely day. My daughter and I spent the entire day together, and we did visit my mother as well. So it was a very, very nice day. We, ran around. We did a little bit of shopping. We did a little bit of laughing and joking around. So it was very, very nice. And yeah, so I'm curious, like, how did you guys enjoy your Mother's Day, for any mothers out there? And if there aren't any more questions beyond that, I would definitely love to answer more questions, but we can cut it short today if we need to. Forever Tea, you're absolutely welcome. I think that, again, I was educated by a lot of keto and carnivore doctors, but I also got a lot of my information from normal people. So I watched people who just were describing their changes, because I wanted to know, how were people's bodies changing. A lot of the doctors that I was watching were not talking about their personal experience of, like, were they ever overweight, or were they ever, like, Dr. Barry mentioned that he was overweight and he had I think he said he had rosacea, and so did Nisha talk about her Hashimoto's. But they're like the exception. They're not the rule. Most doctors are coming in and they're telling you, do this, 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 and you're going to get this result. But they're not sharing, like what I'm doing, that I had these problems. I did these things that I learned and understood, and now I'm having these results. And so I definitely feel like I would have wanted to have more data from the doctors. And that's why I went to normal people. What did you have? What did keto help you to solve? Like, that's part of the reason I'm even doing the videos that I do on my channel, to teach people like what keto can solve. Because, and if anybody's out there that wants to contribute to the videos, there is a link in the description to share your story, because knowing what people have solved is what helps us to understand that keto can help us, right? Because maybe I'm living something that nobody's talking about, that's a keto like influencer, let's say. But there's a normal that I come on and I talk about, hey, keto helped me to solve, in my case, my joint pains. In my case, I found mental clarity and let me tell you, I had clarity. I got even more of it. So like I was working, I wasn't struggling with thoughts. I didn't think, until I went keto and realized, whoa, I could think even clearer. I could get through more books. It was really amazing. So there are often things that we don't even realize could be solved because we didn't live it. Like my tinnitus, another one that I'll talk about right now. I had tinnitus for years. And when I would go up a mountain, like, so maybe go skiing and whatnot, it would be worse. Right. And also, like, I would sometimes lose my hearing. So like my ears would be blocked, I should say. Right. And everything sounds like, wah, 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 like Charlie Brown. All of that is gone, Wellness Warrior. Like, my ears function appropriately. I love it. So I definitely encourage anyone who's lived a change, go down to the description, fill out the form. I would love to interview you, because more people need to know the positive things that happen from eating healthy. In your journey, besides red meat and organs, is there any other meat absolutely not in your rotation? You love them all. Is there any other meat that's not in my rotation? They're all red meats. No, that's not true. I've only recently reintroduced fish. So I'm eating salmon. I'm eating scallops. That was Sharon that turned me on to scallops. Thank you, Sharon. So I'm eating those. So, but they're not, but that those are the only two fish things that are in my rotation. So I haven't added any others. However, I also haven't found any like fish that's fatty that sounds interesting to me. And it's just because I wasn't a fish eater to begin with. I would avoid fish at all costs, actually. So this is pretty new. I'm trying to think about. I don't like turkey. I don't like duck. Again, that's my history talking. Have I tried turkey and duck recently? No. I think what I will do, and I'm totally open to trying turkey and duck in the future. I think my daughter loves turkey, by the way. That's her preferred poultry. She's not a fan of a big fan of chicken, I should say. She eats it, but she's not a big fan, but she loves turkey. What I think I'm going to do when I've been carnivore probably for about a year or so is I'm going to start trying fish, like different kinds of fish and different kinds of poultry. But for right now, I'm really happy with what's on my plate. Again, I think this is one of the good things about eating for health. I'm not running after any idea of variety. It's not the reason that I put what I put on my plate. I I buy the different cuts of meat that I buy and the fish that I buy. I put them in the freezer. I go down to the freezer on the like every few days, and I take one of each cut of meat and I put it in the fridge to defrost. And then I eat them, which doesn't even matter. Like I just grab one, eat it. And when those are gone, I go down to the freezer and I do the same thing again. The reason I'm telling you that is I don't even have an order. I don't have a preference. I never take two of this and one of that. Or it's one of each thing, eat it. One of each thing, eat it. My food life is boring on purpose. I've removed seeking fun with where my food is concerned. It's no longer there. And that's helping me because by doing that, my fun comes from other places, right? It comes from being with people, it comes from doing activities, it comes from learning new stuff. And I encourage all of you to do the same. I'm thankful for you and your channel. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I really, really do. You know, it's not easy doing it's not this is not easy doing this. I love talking to you, but I have to come up with ideas. I have to like take time to film the other videos. And so this is probably the most fun and easiest part. All the other stuff, it's like it's so I love when people, even in the comments, when you say, "Oh, I'm so happy you put out this video," that does motivate me. And so, Mike, I really want you to understand that that does motivate me because it just makes it good to know that I'm helping people stay on track. It's good to know that maybe somebody was gonna cheat today and they didn't cheat because they saw a video of mine. Or if you did cheat, you were able to get yourself right back on there and say, this is what I'm doing from going forward because you understood that it didn't feel good because it's not supposed to feel good. It's the other thing, right? We cheat on our diet because we think that it's going to be fun and it's going to feel good and there's going to be no repercussions because that's what we're always told. A cheat meal is not a big deal. And then we do it and we feel horrible and we don't understand why. And it's because it's not true that it has no repercussions. Of course it has repercussions. Your body is so important. It's what's getting you through the world, right? It gets you from day to day, but it gets you through the world in general, right? It protects you from viruses and disease. Like your body is so important, wellness warrior, that you should never take it for granted. And you should always give it the best quality food that you could possibly afford. The best quality. That's what's going to help you. And thank you for wishing me a happy Mother's Day. I hope that you enjoyed your time with whether it's your wife and kids or your mom and whoever, whatever mothers are in your life. Mike, I hope you enjoyed your time with them. So you're leaving for Spain tomorrow, Lynn. Oh, I I I'm a little bit jealous and have a good time. And I hope you enjoy your time there. That's pretty cool. QQQ from Sing It. That would be interesting to see how you feel about fish and turkey in a year. Guessing your lineup apparently covers all the nutrients you need. Yeah, so I try my best, especially because I eat a lot of eggs. I mean, after the challenge, which I'm still in the middle of the challenge, I should be finished my challenge of 6 months of eating 4 extra eggs a day um, in 2 weeks, I believe. So that video will be coming out, talk about the all the final repercussions of all of that. Some things have changed, but yeah, like I do still eat a good. I'm still eating my 4 eggs a day, and eggs give you a lot of those micronutrients. It's so amazing that we can eat eggs and get so much. So I'm not nervous at all about not having veg, like at all. Doesn't even cross my mind. Not even, and I'm actually happy that I've removed the spices, because I think the spices were kind of hidden, causing more problems than I ever thought. But we'll talk about that when I talk about going carnivore, because whatever we want to call what I'm doing right now. Let's see. Never doubt you do help keep us on track. Oh, I appreciate you saying it as well. I try really hard. I try really hard because and also can I point out, you help keep me on track. One of the things that I learned from one of my professors at McGill, and he was asking people to be student teachers. He pointed out that when you teach, it helps you to keep the information top of mind, and it helps you to then apply best practices. This is part of the reason I'm always talking about best practices, because I know how important it is to remind people what they actually should be doing. Because when we stop thinking about it, like the fact that I stopped thinking about my body makes all the sugar that I need. I knew that. I learned that in university. But when you stop thinking about it, you stop acting on it. Now, I didn't act on it in university either, because I didn't necessarily see the high implication of what that meant, that my body makes all the sugar that I need, and then I'm eating foods that have carbohydrates in them. Didn't make the link. But now that I know it, I'm not putting it down. So I do appreciate you, and I thank you for allowing me to be in your day so that I get reminded too of what I'm supposed to be eating and why it's so important for my health. It's keeping my body in the best possible position that it can, and that really matters. So less junk, more health says, I have a very different approach to food than you. I personally can't say I won't eat certain foods ever again. That would be overwhelming for me. It really isn't overwhelming for me, only because those foods I have clearly seen cause me damage. I see that those foods caused me to be out of control with eating. So I'm more than happy to put down things that I see as mistakes. I have no problem with that, right? Like, even let's say socially, that if I was in a friendship with someone and I realized that that person wasn't a good person, I would let go of that friendship in a heartbeat. I don't hold on to things that are harming me, is my point. And when I see foods that are harming me, I let them go. Right now, with everything I know, I honestly can't see the reason to eat vegetation. It doesn't mean that other people need not eat vegetation. Everybody's going to do what they're going to do. Part of the reason that I make these videos is that I really want us to understand that I'm going to give you the reality, and then it's up to you to see, how do I apply that reality to my life? What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? I'll give you the example. When I go out to eat, which I still do, can I have zero vegetation in that meal? No, they're spicing that meat that I'm ordering. I know that for a fact. Because they pre-spice everything, right? My dad's a chef. I know how it works. So it's not that I'm getting zero veg in my diet ever in the course of my life. I know that there are going to be scenarios, like, for example, it was Mother's Day yesterday. I went to my mom's house. I actually ate supper there. So she gave me a big pile of meat on my plate. The meat was spiced. So I had spices yesterday. It's impossible for me if I eat outside of my house to have something not be spiced. So I do understand that. But is it how I make my food? No. Is it how I eat? I would probably say I give that 90% of the time. No. Right? It's part of the reason that I'm kind of pushing back even on myself of how we label ourselves. That whole carnivore, keto, like slippery slope thing. And like the truth is, if I'm using spices at all, right? And so I feel like I am carnivore. I think, who did I see? Professor Bart K. He was talking about something, and he's like, eating one little serving of fruit doesn't make you not carnivore, because we are carnivores. Eating off plan doesn't mean that we aren't something, right? It just means you're eating the wrong thing. And yeah, so I'm really comfortable with the fact that I feel meat is what I need to be eating. And that's where my brain is going moving forward. That's how I'm looking at this period. Meat is what I need to be eating. And I say meat, I mean meat, poultry, fish, eggs, the gamut like that. I'm very comfortable with that. And if spices get on something because I ate away from home, it's not all the time. And let me just tell you, I eat at home most of the time. Pat and I go out to eat every other weekend. That's it. So, and I don't, and I'm saying at home, I don't typically eat at my mom's. I ate there because it was Mother's Day. So I ate there. I know that makes her happy. And she was able to make me something that I was happy with. That was a win-win. I've I've gone to my mom's place and then come home and eaten multiple times. No, and I have no problem with that. Okay, so let's see. You said, but I understand that's how you have to do this way of eating. Going back to your previous comment, just so I can understand the context. But I don't want us to be. I don't want us to be hard on ourselves just to be hard on ourselves, which I think is something in our community that seems to be happening. That people get annoyed, upset, frustrated if they hear people eating things that don't fall in line with the diet they say they're eating. I think that we should be always aiming at best practice. Always. The same way that I always try to tell the truth. Always. Right? And if I say something that's incorrect, you can be guaranteed I'm not saying it because I'm trying to lie. I'm just making a mistake. Right? So I don't purposefully say things that are not true. And I don't purposefully go around trying to eat things that I know are going to harm me. That's why I'm so sure that veg that I make, not going to be on my plate. Now, like I said, does that mean I'm never going to eat out though? Well, no. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, but I still try not to do it often. And I try to, even same thing with drinking. So I haven't drank. I don't even think I had no, did I have a glass of wine at New Year's this year? I don't think I did. But I might have. So I'm going to say since January, because I might have. I might have. But before that, it had been the previous January. No, it had been my holiday. I went on holiday. I forgot about that week of crazy that I did. And then before that was the previous January. So what's my point is that I don't have to tell myself I don't want to drink, because I only drink if the scenario is there and I feel like it. And usually, which I've been in lots of scenarios where there's been alcohol. So let me just clarify that, because I do go out and I do have normal friends who so I do go out and I still didn't drink. So why? Because I don't need to. I can have a good time drinking bubbly water. I can have a good time. So it doesn't matter to me. I want us all to do things based on what's good for us. And when I do it based on what's good for myself, it's not so scary to think about never doing something again. If less junk, more health, if 5 years from now I decide to have a strawberry, I'll have a strawberry. Do I plan to have a strawberry? No. But am I saying it could never happen? I'm not saying that either. It could happen that 5 years from now, for some reason, I'm curious, like what does strawberry taste like now? And I might have one. I want to make sure for my own health, the thing that I'm aiming for is that I eat based on healthy rather than eating because I'm chasing. That's my ultimate goal. I was chasing food and I'm not proud of myself that I was chasing food. I'm not proud of myself that I was eating more than one chocolate bar per day. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of myself that I was eating processed foods for suppers regularly. What message was that giving to my daughter? I'm not proud of that. So I feel like there's a lot of things that we could do differently that would help us. Because you're saying you feel damage as well, but you still go off carnivore from time to time. And that's not based on what's best for you. And I want you to pause and think about that. How would my life look better if I made a commitment to prioritize health over the taste of food? Prioritize, right? That doesn't mean that my food needs to taste bad, but I'm prioritizing my health. So if I go off carnivore and then I eat these things and then my body feels bad, that's not me prioritizing my health. Sometimes we need to change the conversation we're having with ourselves to get success. So I'm asking you, just change the conversation you're having with yourself so you can have success. Kitty Black, hello. Haven't seen your name in a while. I'm glad you could make it. The only vegetation I eat is broccoli, avocados, and strawberries. Maybe that's why strawberry popped in my head. I could see the the comment below. I definitely am very excited and happy that I'm going to be able to share with you guys soon another interview with someone who's going to talk about vegetation and its impact on mental health. That's coming up in a few months. It's a bit away, but I'm excited for it. I'm not going to say the person's name just in case it doesn't happen, but I'm excited for it. Right now it's planned. So I want every single wellness warrior to be healthy. And I want the whole planet to be wellness warriors. So you get where I'm going with this. We all need to get healthy so that we can enjoy our lives, so that we can play with our kids and our grandkids, do the activities that we want, read the books that we want without having to reread the same sentence 12 times because we're so confused. We should be living our golden years, right? Doing stuff. We work our entire youthful years away. And then when we're older and have enough money to be able to relax, we can't do anything but relax. And we're not even relaxing because we're sitting in the chair because we're in pain, not because the chair is so comfy. I want us all of us to be healthy. I want us all to be out there using our body right up to the last moment that we can use it. And that means the point of this video today, right? Stop chasing weight loss and focus your energy on eating healthy food so you can have a healthy body. A healthy body regulates its weight. A healthy body regulates its weight. I've been saying that for years, and it's still true today. So get out there and eat the right thing, Wellness Warrior. Thank you for being here and talking with me today. I love making these videos for you, and I can't wait to talk to you again next Monday. I'll be here at 11:20. Any questions you have, you can put that in the comments. I will try to answer them as well. Have a good rest of your day, guys.